Yep.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We're back. It's been a long break, but we are restarting with our podcast, and we're not the only one that is restarting once again. Our beloved Juventus is restarting as well, and today, let's say, was the first day of the new chapter. All right, so it's been a turmoil the past few months, to say the least. But here we are, and let's see what's going on. So we need to understand what's going on. We need to understand who's responsible for what's going on. So I'm going just to pick one of the guests, introduce them as usual, and then start asking questions. So first of all, welcome Mauro, Vice President of Juventus Club Silicon Valley.
Hello.
And then we have our Edo, VP of Fan Club Boston,
Hey, everybody.
and our Billone from Juventus Fan Club Hollywood.
Hi, everyone.
All right, let's just dig in. So I'm gonna pick Mauro and ask,
hmm
was it the right thing what they did to sack Tuchel?
If it's true, the stories that have been surfaced in the press about, lashing out at players and dissatisfaction between him and the players, locker room, etc., I would say yes. Although you shouldn't empower too much the players to sack coaches, but obviously it's much easier to get rid of one than get rid of X number of players. So if that is all true, and seems from the results and the attitude that I saw tonight, yeah, I would say unfortunately was the right call.
So you're saying was the right call mainly. So if it's true that he lashed out on the players, that's the right call. So a coach shouldn't lash out on the players.
No, I mean, the problem is how and to what extent, because last year, for example, you could see that the team lost 3-0 and then 4-0, or 4-0 and then 3-0. You could see more clearly last year that the coach and the players obviously did not get along. This time, frankly, except Real Madrid, but both Como and Lazio, it seems that I didn't see that they care that much, or I didn't see a lot of commitment or spirit. That could be an indication that maybe it was not as bad as with Mota, but still, to some extent, there was not a unity within the team, which seems to indicate that the stories that are surfacing now may have some merit. And if that is true, most of the time, yeah, the coach is the one to pay, because eventually, yeah, you can't fire all the players. And if the coach is the man older and more experienced, is supposed to create the chemistry and was unable to, as sad as it is, yes, probably I think was the right call.
If we tied with Lazio, would have seen a different outcome, or it would have been sacked, do you think?
I think he may not have been sacked, because probably he would not have maybe done that lashing out, but I don't know how much would have procrastinated the situation that maybe was inevitable. So maybe in a way it was a good thing that we pulled the plug now. It's difficult to say without knowing the locker room, but given that apparently, right, Tudor said, oh, you guys are not worthy of this jersey, or you should be ashamed, etc. And, the return trip was everybody in silence. I mean, you cannot run a team like that long term. So I think, maybe if that was the case, maybe it's a good loss, because it allowed to make this change sooner rather than later.
Okay. Same question for Edo and Bilo. Was it the right thing in the right moment?
Edo. I think it was. And mainly for one reason is that, the trajectory was down, but you still had room to save, a considerable part of the season. The Serie A is so bad that, we haven't won in like 2 months, and we're still like 6 points from the top. So it's not like everything is lost and there's, and the same for Champions League. It's not been great, but we still have a good amount of games to play, and our chances of at least making in through the next round are still somewhat intact. So if you were to make the change, I think it's much better to do it early than later than just say, okay, let's wait until Christmas, and then maybe by Christmas time, you're down 12 points in the Serie A, and you don't have any real shot at going through the next stage in Champions League. But that doesn't mean that Tudor is the one to blame for the situation. It's just that once you're in that stage, the only way out is, as Mauro said, like there is no way you can get rid of the player or get rid of the front office, because we also changed that, not just the player, a few times already. So
do you agree with Matteo, what he says here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was my main concern with Tudor, is that probably the ceiling is not that high, but also I wasn't expecting the floor to be that low. So, average coach, I don't know, put in a weird position by the front office for sure. Players acting like they're, Cristiano Ronaldo prime when they're not even able to stop the ball and pass it 5 yards. Also very true. So it's a combination of things.
Billo.
First of all, where is Matteo?
Matteo is watching the Dodgers. Tal is joining.
So it's just writing for the reason. That's very sad.
Hi Tal, welcome.
Hi.
We don't see you yet, but we hear you.
Yeah, my camera's giving me all sorts of issues. I don't know.
That's okay. You figure that out. In the meantime, with Billo answering the first question, which was it the right thing to sack Tudor?
Well, how do you know if it's the right thing? You have to see at the end of the season if it was the right thing.
No, in this, given the information you had, given the information you had, given the information you have, what you saw up until this point, was it the right thing to do it right now?
There is a little bit of, I agree with both of them in some aspect. One in particular, like you have to see what is true, what is not about the rumors of what happened. Like how much the player didn't want him as a coach, how much they were not following him. I don't know about that. We can see from outside. For what I saw only the first half because I had to go to work after, and definitely was not happy about that because I want to finish to the end. But I definitely saw players motivated today. I don't think it's all because Tudor getting fired. I think Evra was about you gotta feel like shit after they fire your coach, and it happened only once in his career. And to them, it happened already 3 times in 18 months. And Vlahovic talked about that at the end of the game. So I see the motivation was a lot was there because you touching their pride. You talking like them, like a bunch of kids that they don't care about the team, and I think it was the right call to have somebody from outside that everybody respect in soccer world to say the kind of heavy words, because it's not part of the team anymore. It's not get any paycheck from Juve, and so it was the right moment to hear that. I feel because everybody's been too kind to them. I feel so. I'm happy somebody had the guts to tell them now it's all you guys, because you didn't show with the one coach last year, you didn't show with this other coach, and now it's the third one that's coming in. So you have 0 excuses at this point.
Tal,
yeah.
How do you evaluate the time of Tudor with us?
It's difficult because as a man, I really I love and appreciate Tudor. He has an immense amount of Juventinità, and unfortunately that did not translate to a lot of the players. And we're in a position that we can't go out now and get a bunch of players that will play in a style that'll make it work for him. So it's the only thing that you can do is replace the coach. That's all you can do.
Do you think he did the most he could do, or he could have done better, more, considering the team he had and his expertise or whatever? That's who he is.
I was very optimistic about him. I liked what he did at Marseille. When he was at Verona, I think that his Verona team was pretty formidable. At Lazio, he was pretty good. But the thing is that he's never lasted anywhere more than a full season. And there's got to be a reason for that, And I think we found out that reason. I think that once he runs out of ideas, I think he starts to panic. And again, we're not in the locker room, so we don't know. But it's just an unfortunate circumstance.
Sorry.
I'm never going to fault the guy for what he did. I think he pulled us out of a really terrible situation last season. But maybe in retrospect, we should have gone with someone else to take over from the beginning of this season.
Edo, what were Tudor's shortcomings? What did he do wrong? It did something wrong. What can we say that was definitely Tudor's fault?
I mean, to me, the most surprising part was, if you look at, Tudor's teams before Juve, they were always, very physical, very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but sort of had that will that, maybe the quality wasn't there, but they made up for it with just, heart and legs and lungs. We saw that, very few times when he took over last year, but then, something changed and he went into a very, a safe mode that combined with the quality that we don't have, it was the recipe for some sort of mediocre at best results. So to me, that was the only, everybody talks about he's very rigid, like he doesn't change formation, he doesn't want to switch to a back four. I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade. But to me, that was, and the game with Lazio was probably the most obvious one. It's like just flat, all around flat, and it's very unlike his previous teams, and he's very unlike his personality. You can tell everything about Tudor, but he's not a dull person. He's not like a. So that's maybe he wasn't able to translate and teach that to the players, because you could have whatever we're gonna call it, the Juventinità, the DNA, whatever, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to, translate that to the players and teach these guys that maybe don't know what it takes to be a true Juventus player. Maybe that was his biggest shortcoming.
Yeah, I believe that, and I am I am, you guys know I've always been like a Tudor supporter, but if one needs to make an objective, observation of what happened, with all the alibis that I think he has, all right, and then we'll talk about it right after. But I think one thing again transpired by this situation. The sitting on the Juventus bench, it's not like sitting on any other bench. I believed that Tudor had a strong enough personality to stay true to himself and go straight for his own way, which is what I think a lot of people think. I don't think he did that. I think in the end, he felt the pressure. If you look at the last 3 games, I don't know how many times change players, change formation, 3 defenders, 4 defenders, again back at 3, again back at 4. He looked confused. He looked lost. It's not what a coach of Juventus can do, and so like Matteo said, he's an average coach. Like Motta is an average coach. Like all those that haven't made on our bench are average coaches. I think I don't even know if it's his fault. You are either made in a way or you're not. And Tudor unfortunately showed that he's not another coach that was made for our bench. Then you have the players that are average as well, so that doesn't help. And management and all the things we're going to talk about. But I think in the end, like it showed that it wasn't cut for it, and I think it was the right call to do it now, like it or not. No point in dragging it out. Not sure if you guys want to add anything to this.
I completely agree. I don't think he necessarily had the coaching chops to manage us, and I think that he also probably wanted to succeed so bad because of how much he loves the club that it put an even additional amount of pressure on him that he possibly couldn't handle. Again, we weren't there. We don't know. But he clearly is lacking in the coaching department, whether it's in man management or in anything else.
So looking at this, Billo, looking at this comment, do you think that this played a big enough role in what happened, or just Tudor, it was a matter of time he would have failed?
I think it's a very tough job. I think, like he was saying that right now, he really want to succeed. I don't think it was a thing like of motivation or time he spent thinking about soccer or anything like that. He put 100% in Juve. But it's not enough at a certain level because it's so difficult as a job right now with all the changes that are happening with Juve for everybody. And what we all want is stability. And right now we are starting again. And it's unfortunate, but unfortunately you cannot hit your head against the wall multiple times and hope for different result. So at some point you're going to make tough choices and change. I don't love when we change a coach in general. I hope it never happens again. I hope that the next one is going to sign tomorrow is going to stay for a couple of years, and we're going to start to have some stability. It's first of all what I mean. I miss most since Andrea Agnelli, all the board went down. So yeah.
Mauro, you see here what Matteo is saying. Do you think this is anything to do with the situation that happened? He says he asked to be extended, otherwise he would have not gone to the World Cup.
Yeah, I think there were some, original sin in the relationship, how he was hired and what was the contractual arrangement. I think there was some of that plagued that. One thing that I was surprised, even by him, I can actually agree that, finally there was a coach that complained about, ref calls. The calendar, I think, was objectively tough for us at the beginning. I was very surprised after the game with Lazio that he singled out players like Cambiaso. He clearly accused him. Oh, I changed him because he wasn't doing well. That's very unusual. I rarely see a coach single out negatively a player. That to me was a bit of a red flag. Like, what is he doing? Or maybe he was already anticipating what would have happened.
Yeah.
As far as
to me, that says that he already knew he was out.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, Cambiaso is supposed to be one of these guys that we're building the team around, and if we're going to be doing that, and you single him out, and you're going to lose part of the locker room by doing that, unless that's your style already. You know what I mean? There's coaches that do that.
Edo, what about his pressers? Do you think he went above board?
I don't know about that, but he definitely wasn't comfortable. After a while, you could see that he was not, I don't know, his answers were always sort of very short, but not because he was witty or had some cool answer. It was just very short because he wanted to cut it short. It wasn't, I don't know, it felt very, very uneasy about the whole thing. But I want to go back quickly to the whole point of, the front office not being 100% behind him from the get-go. And I think it's very important in one sense, because, we're talking about how the players, probably none of our players would ever go to war for Tudor. We can say that, or very few. But my question is, like, why would they, if they feel like the front office feels exactly the same way? Why would they ever, why would they act differently? I don't know if you guys remember. I forgot the year. My memory is bad. But with the first Allegri, there was I think it was 2017 or something. We started very poorly, really poorly, and then we had that Sassuolo game, and then things turned around. But the players didn't quit because I think they knew that Andrea Agnelli was 100% convinced that Allegri was the right guy, and he was never going to change that guy because he was fully behind him. And it was not like that this time.
Edo, I think the more relevant example would be when Lippi decided to step down because everybody knew he signed with Inter, so the player was not even following him anymore.
Yeah,
and he was Lippi.
Yeah,
and he just
but to me, it's a matter of culture. Like, if you don't establish a culture within the team that comes all the way down from the top guy to the very last guy, how can you expect things to go well? If, of course, you're gonna hit some roadblock. Every team has it during the season, and if the foundations are shaky, then it doesn't take much for everything to fall down. And that was just one example of that.
So you're saying that sorry.
But even the timing of signing Komoli, it was like you signing the new person that's making the decision in the moment that's most critical. There's no like buffer training moment that you're deciding who to keep or not to keep. You already had to make the decision who to keep as a manager. So that one was already also for Komoli.
Yeah, I know.
In general, right now, everything is very difficult for everybody.
Because then you put Komoli on the spot.
Yeah.
And you say, do you want to fire this guy you barely know and hire somebody else right up?
Yeah.
It was a very unique situation that they handled poorly. I mean, a unique situation is because there was the World Cup. Okay. If there wasn't the World Cup, they could have waited for the season end and then let go Giuntoli and then let go of Tudor, and if they wanted to deal with all of that. Then there was the World Cup and the mess that they created, contacting Conte saying no, and then contacting Gasperini saying no, and then I had, rightfully so, Tudor says, okay, now I'm looking like a fucking fool here. Like, what are we doing? So they couldn't start the season with a coach that his contract was going to expire next season. If they kept Tudor, they had to extend 2 years. There was another way. They would have looked like completely incompetent. You either fire him or you give him a 2 years contract. So that's what happened there. As much as we want to fault him, or he asked for an extension, but there was all that behind. That said, did they set him up for failure, meaning not having the support from the beginning? So it's on the management. So this is on the management. And then all Tudor's shortcomings completely clashed with everything.
Yeah, he's always multiple sides of the story. It's just not like clear white and black. For sure, it was not just Tudor. Management also lacked some opportunity. But like I said, it was very difficult, the timing.
See here what Matteo is saying? I agree with them. Sorry, Billo. I was thinking about this today.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, why they didn't sack him before the World Cup? We could have gone to the World Cup with Brambilla or whoever. It's 3 games. It would have been a way better. The truth is, they didn't have any option.
Yeah.
If they didn't extend Tudor, who were gonna get? Spalletti wasn't even free yet, because he was still with the national team.
I think
right?
for Erkan was an important tournament more than what. If you do remember, we went to the White House and everything else. So he didn't want to go there with somebody like Brambilla. To me,
yeah,
the situation. Everything starts from Erkan. So.
All right, let's move to the next topic. All right, because now we talked about Tudor, what he did, what he didn't do, is the past. All right, is the past. Whatever. Now we have a present we need to deal with, and we have 2 potential issues. We'll see about the third. I say potential. I'm going to ask you if it's an issue or not. Do we have a locker room problem? Because it looks like we have changed 3 coaches, 4. No, today we said 6 because Allegri, Motta, Montero, Brambilla, and then now Spalletti and Tudor. 6 in 14 months. All right. So the players are the same. The core group is the same. So do we have a locker room problem? Because there are already rumors that some players didn't want Spalletti, wanted Palladino. Who takes this?
I choose to not believe that one, because otherwise, man, like, we're gonna shut down this live podcast and then go to something else if we feed that
So
one.
who believes there is a locker room problem here?
Locker room problem, yeah, possible. At the end, man, at the end we're not doing great. So we're changing coaches and players, pretty much the same. I heard multiple people say the Italian core is the problem. Could be. But again, it's one of those things we got to see, guys. We got to see how the cards are going to play out. And now we got to give the new coach at least a few games before we see what styles he want to play. So the word, again, is patience. So
What do you guys think about the players? Call it locker room problem?
I think that we have an organizational problem that's pervasive throughout the entirety of the organization. I think that we have an issue that, and we've been talking about this for a few years now, we don't have anything that to a lot of us resembles what Juve is. You know, take any aspect of the club as it is right now, how we handle things, how we go about anything. You know, players used to come and become more than the sum of their parts. Now we're getting guys that are coming, you know, but last season we had guys that were coming into our club from the best seasons of their careers to play the worst season of their careers with us. That just doesn't happen overnight. You know, we're in a lot of ways suffering and at the kind of what I hope is the tail end of death by 1,000 razor cuts, where we've had so many different issues all compound on top of each other, and there's a complete lack of identity that that the you know, for instance, like you were saying, some of the players don't care. They wanted Palladino, they don't want Spalletti. You guys don't get to decide. I'm sorry. Like, who are you to say that? Oh, I want this guy, I don't want that guy. Shut up, play. The coach is your coach. That's your new boss. Deal with it.
That's on the management.
That's
If the
on the-
management
that's on
doesn't
the
back up.
Yeah, but then the thing is that if the management is going to go and take the player side one day and then take the coach side the next day and then take the sporting director side the next day, what kind of organization is that? I mean, if we're talking about running a bakery, okay, and then the owner wants to replace the head baker because the cashier doesn't like them, what kind of organization are you running?
Well, we haven't had a management that backs the coach since
I would
in
say
3
the
years
first-
at least.
The first part of that statement is correct. We haven't had a management.
But they haven't, whoever came after, they haven't backed the coach. Giuntoli arrived, got rid of Allegri.
So
Then
Giuntoli was
picked
selected by a
Motta.
bunch of accountants.
No, I
Okay.
understand. Then he picked Motta, but like when we were drowning, he never went out and put his face out to defend the coach. Then we picked this Comolia. I'm still waiting for him to say something. I mean, he managed to sack Tudor without ever saying anything. So that's, I think, a record.
You guys remember, you were referencing that Sassuolo match where we had, what was it, 4-1 we lost, and it was just abysmal. Who came out to speak after that?
Buffon, no?
No. Agnelli came out after that match.
Yeah, also the one in Maccabi Haifa, Agnelli came out and spoke.
Exactly.
You know? So I know, but that's a big issue. That's a big issue. So management, it's a big issue. I think we haven't solved yet. So
we're starting to build a management structure with the guys we have in place. That's what we have to give a little bit of patience on. But every failure at this point, the blood is on everybody's hand.
So the question is, I'll give this to Edo. Who's calling the shots?
That's a good one because, you know, we had this idea that Comolli was coming in to be the the one guy, like a one-man band, making all the decisions and hiring the guys he wants. And I don't know if, the decision to sack Tudor and hire Spalletti was 100% his call. Apparently Elkan was involved. Today, Elkan spoke with the team as well. So it's interesting. But we were talking about the locker room problem. I don't know if we have one, but I think we're about to find out, because Spalletti doesn't really have any issues with, cutting out. Yeah. I mean, he did it with Totti, did it with Icardi, did it with a bunch of. So Matteo has opinions about it.
Well, he's saying that
baseball. Come on.
He's saying that he thinks he's only calling the shots. But I've heard rumors too that Elkan kind of pressured for Tudor being sacked. So this begs another question. I'll ask Mauro. So there are people that say the problem is Elkan, because is Elkan picking all these guys, they're making a bunch of wrong choices, right? And other people say, no, it's not the problem, because he picks these guys and then he relies on these guys to make those choices because he has no clue. Is he still responsible? Or because then somebody else tells you, well, he's the one that picked Andrea Agnelli, and then we won for 10 years, so he should have credit for that. If he did that back then, why can't do it again? So what's the truth here? Is it responsible or not?
Well, I mean, to answer your previous question, the locker room problem, if I go back 3 years, I don't think there was locker room problem with Allegri. He was clearly sacked by one person, and you can see the reaction even from the players in the bench in his last show in the Coppa Italia. Everybody was with him.
Right.
And it turned out afterwards, even Chiesa said, I had no problem with Allegri. Motta didn't even want to talk to me and all that stuff. So I don't think that there was a locker room with Allegri, and these are the same players, which means that maybe you need a certain level of expertise, etc., to manage a club like Juve.
That's a
you
fact.
could see that there was a locker room problem with Motta and maybe with Tudor. And as to Spalletti, I mean, he does come with already some problems allegedly with the national team. And I candidly do not believe that you can say, oh, no, even if the management says, oh, no, this is the coach, you need to work for him. We see it in the professional world all the time. You are never going to give 100%, even as a soccer player or as a professional, if you think your boss is a dick. No matter how much time the CEO tells you, whatever you can, you will do what you can, but you will never give that extra if you hate your boss. And I fear that Spalletti is already coming with baggage, no matter how much, unless he can patches it. And these guys are even kids, so the gap may be even more evident in their performance. So that's a concern to me, that this guy is coming with some baggage already with people that were on the national team. As far as the Elkan responsibility, yeah, he did pick Andrea Agnelli. He was the owner. If I try to be John Elkan and I'm like, I don't really care much about Juventus, but, it's an ego thing. It's part of the family, so I'll never sell it. I'll try to rely on whoever I can. I don't think anybody would have thought that Giuntoli was a bad pick. And I don't think anybody would have thought that Motta was a bad pick at the time. So at least on those choices, I cannot fault Elkan, because he put himself in the hands of people that were almost unanimously considered to be the best at what they were doing. So
you make a good point.
I can't fault him for Giuntoli and Motta. I wish I would know why he picked Comolli and Modesto. That it's still a mystery to me. How did he pick those guys?
I think Modesto was picked by Comolli. Just picked Comolli, I think.
But so, he seemed to have a predilection for the French. Vasseur at Ferrari is another example. So that I may criticize him for that choice. but I do not know based on what he picked Comoli. I have no idea.
But you want to move you want to move away from what it was before with the past with what we have with Giuntoli.
Which is fine, but to be honest, even to cut more slack to Elkan, picking players is not as easy. Even the great Marotta, most of the recent purchases of Inter suck. Taremi, all of these B play Fratesi, I mean, he barely plays. Inter is still relying on 30-plus-year-old players, and all those parameter zero that Marotta is taking is not that they're all successful. So even the best in the business right now is not shining. But again, if I'm in Elkan's shoes that I think he knows that he doesn't know. What more can you say to hire somebody that you think that he knows? And Agnelli, yeah, he picked Agnelli, but let's remember what Agnelli did. In the last few years, he sacked Marotta and he thought he knew better by putting Cherubini, Paratici, Arrivabene. Is that good? Agnelli also has some baggage. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. As of right now, he's putting all the money that he can and relying on what he thinks people that know would do better. I don't know what more I can ask from an owner that knows that he doesn't know anything about soccer. I mean, what more can I tell him to do? Okay, yeah, he could put a ton more money to buy a lot more players, but look how much money did we spend in the last 4 years? $500 million in purchases? Is that not a lot of money? Elkan has no fault if they buy Commanders and Sachs, Pogba, Di Maria, basically retired. I like to think that Elkan had no input in those.
And by the way, next summer we're not gonna have the possibility to do that.
Yeah,
Because
financial fair
we're
play.
gonna get fined 10 million, and we're gonna have a smaller roster also.
So you can say people. I hear that, and then I will. I don't want to go too long, but people say, "Oh no, you should sell it to Arduino." I actually hope that he never does. Arduino is a crypto dude. That's a bubble.
No, please. That's the last thing we need.
I mean, if he bursts, what happens? What is the assurance that Arduino knows or to pick better managers than Elkan? I have no idea. So, to me, Elkan's fault for now, I would just limit that the Comolli choice seems mildly questionable because I have no idea about the guy. He doesn't even speak Italian, so I would probably criticize him for that. But for Giuntoli and Motta, I can't fault him for that.
But do you know somebody that I rely that I'm happy is part of our team and our board is Chiello. Chiello most likely is the one right now that he was asked, are you okay with signing Spalletti? And he said yes. And he was the one who went to the press conference today before the game. So I see him getting more involved in the team, rightly so, because he has so much knowledge about football. He's not a guy that he never did anything else. He also worked at LAFC. He has degrees. He's well respected in the whole soccer world. And to me, it's taking a little bit what Nedved was for us during the Agnelli era. And I like the role a lot. And I think it's going to be important. So if Chiello said that he's okay with Spalletti, I'm okay with Spalletti. At the end of the thing. This is my point of view.
All right, so we have a management that is learning on the go in a way what it means to be a Juventus, right? We agree on that, right? Because again, being a manager at Lille or wherever Comolli was, it's not the same.
He was at Toulouse.
Well, was Toulouse, whatever, in France, right? It's not the same as being here. Chiellini is a brand new manager himself. Modesto is experiences from Monza, right? So,
where is our sporting director?
Right. So,
well, I mean, we're using a headhunting firm to find us a sporting director now.
Right.
It's
so
embarrassing.
That is all that is in the making. All right. So now, finally, on to the next coach. All right. It should be Spalletti. And, I personally don't know if there were alternatives, any viable alternatives. Keep in mind the management that is learning, all right, what it means to be there. So to me, that was the only choice. But, they talked about Palladino, they talked about Mancini, somebody mentioned Zidane, whatever they called him, but he said, no way. So was it the right choice?
I don't think there was another choice. I don't think that there was anybody truly available. I think Palladino you'd be taking a risk on, and the time to go after Palladino would have been picking Palladino instead of Motta. I personally thought that Palladino did a lot more with that Monza squad than what Motta did with Bologna. If we have the evidence now that with losing their best player and their coach, Bologna was still managing to maintain the same kind of position in the table, if not better, and Monza is nowhere to be seen.
Edo, what do we expect from Spalletti? What is that we expect from Spalletti? Like what can he do? What can he do for this team that hasn't been done so far?
I hope. I don't know if we can expect that, a guarantee, but I hope that he just brings some confidence back, some structure, with Tudor it felt all the time that even the games themselves, 10 minutes into the game, there was no structure left. It was like, people running around, scared. Sometimes I never felt we were in control of a game. When is the last time you guys felt that we were controlling the game? I don't know. I hope
Probably today.
Today?
Yeah.
Ish.
I mean, even if there was a
ish, I said.
Ish. Towards the end of the first half, it was kind of iffy. But I hope that Spalletti just gives us structure and sort of, okay, say, guys, we have what it takes to get to the Champions League next year for sure. I mean, it's not like we're that far below the top 4 teams in terms of the roster quality. We have it what it takes. And then we need some principles that we are going to rely on. We didn't have any principles with Tudor in terms of, okay, this is what we do best. This is what we're going to rely on when things don't go our way. With Tudor, we just fell flat. I hope that he gives us some sort of structure, some spine, something to build upon. Because he has a lot of, the thing is, he's got so much experience. Like, small teams in Italy, teams abroad, places that are not easy to coach at, like Roma and Napoli. Man, those are 2 really, really challenging places to coach at, because Roma, they have all these radio stations, all they talk about is Roma for like 24 hours a day. Napoli hadn't won shit for like 30 years before he came to Napoli and won. He almost won
that season though. There's a big asterisk for me on that Napoli season though, and the biggest. I'll let you finish.
No, I mean for sure, but what I'm saying is that, he's seen it all. I don't think there's anything soccer related that he hasn't seen in terms of locker room, in terms of injuries, in terms of what you're going to play. So he has all the tools to sort of help us navigate, get some structure, get some direction, and some stability for the next years, multiple years. I don't want to see another coaching change in a year and a half, because I'm sick and tired of it.
I gotta ask, guys, and I agree with Matteo. To me, the main problem has been always the players, the quality of the players. And now there are rumors that there is the core group of the Italians that are, have been swimming against, So my main concern amongst all these players, besides the quality of how he plays, is Locatelli, which is the captain, right? So if the captain of fucking Juventus is in the eye of the storm, meaning leading we have a huge problem here. No, small, huge. The captain is the one that should bring them together, should put them in line, right? It shouldn't be like in the gossip group. If that's the case, I think that's a big problem, right? And again, I'm not even going to bring it to the table like social media, what is doing, what is not doing, that's all interpretation. But like, do we have that kind of problem? Because how do you solve that problem? If Spalletti comes and strips him of the captain band and puts him on the bench, what's going to happen? You know? Is there an issue?
But well, if there is a person that has no problem to do that, it would be him. So let him evaluate. Let him evaluate the team and see what they can give you and do not give you. Coming back to the choice of Spalletti, one of the best team I ever seen playing in Serie A in the last years was like the Roma of Spalletti, when there was Mancini, Taddei, Perotti, Totti. To me, that was one of the most spectacular soccer I've seen in Serie A for a long time. They're outside of the team I cheer for. So I don't dislike him at all. So if you're at the point of the season, you have to choose a coach and he's available, to me it's good. He's not the worst choice you can have.
Is there anyone against Spalletti here?
What?
Mauro is against Spalletti. Okay.
Of course, he has a history, he has a Napoli tattoo, and he has a lot of things.
No, okay, but we can't hire a coach based on his.
No,
And I'm going on the other side right now. I'm going to the other side to see like why it would be not something that our supporter like. But he has a lot of support from the press, for example. Most of the press likes Spalletti.
Yeah, just wait for him to sit on our bench.
Of course,
Talk about
when
that.
everybody goes to Juve, change. I remember also with Sarri, but I'm saying like there's a good sort. And at the end of the thing, I hope we get all united and support him, because we need to give support to this team. Otherwise, they're not going to make it, because they are not amazing players. Beside a couple of cases, one of them is Yildiz, and so.
Mauro, since you don't like
Spalletti,
so how do you feel about him coming? What do you foresee?
Well, as I said, I am. So first of all, his contract is interesting because apparently it's 8 months and then renewal if we get to Champions League, which, okay, is not. That's not a top coach type of contract, but maybe that's what they got. The issue that Billo was alluding to, and you as well, on the potential clashes with players, that's a problem, because if it starts with friction, again, I don't think they're going to give the 110% for him. And my main concern about Spalletti stems from something that, not just Allegri said more than once, about history. Juventus is impermeable to have coaches that play good soccer. It failed with Maifredi, it failed with Del Neri, it failed with Motta, it failed badly with Sarri, who defined the team uncoachable. I do not know if Spalletti will succeed, would be the first to memory to make this team play well. And I don't know if the players that he's got right now would fit what he wants to do with it. Because Sarri, at the end, with Juventus, which was the prophet of great soccer, he had Cristiano Ronaldo, Pjanic. Juventus played horribly with him. Not even him could transmit 2 champions how to play good. Can Spalletti do that with these guys if he has baggage with player relationships? That's what worries me.
So, answering to Matteo.
So, I will give you an example, right? And again, it's difficult to say because everybody's the wisest Monday morning quarterback. What I thought I saw good today from Brambilla was some interesting choices. He put Cambiaso on the right. He seemed to play better. He put Kostic on the left. He seemed to play better. He put Ildiz behind 2 strikers. They seem to play better. It's not a revolution, but there were at least some interesting touches that he did. Who would have I appointed? I would probably appoint I mean, I would have risked Palladino probably because he doesn't have any baggage with the players, and I don't know that he could do much worse than Tudor. Brambilla showed, or maybe the player showed him, that with few changes, we play with better heart. Can Spalletti do that? To me, given that quality is not there, we can only do good this season with heart and intensity. If the players don't like the coach, you will not get that.
Let me tell you one thing.
But
though.
at the Serie A level, the offense that we have is not a level of Napoli, Inter, Milan, and Roma.
Striker, yes. Midfield,
Strikers, yes.
no. Midfield, no.
No, midfield, no. We all know that, yeah.
But that's not a small detail.
Yeah, we know that. we know that.
But let me tell you this, Mauro.
Yeah.
You said, I don't know if Palladino could have done worse than Tudor. Yeah, he could have. And I'll tell you why. Because, and everybody I think is forgetting this about Tudor. Tudor brought us to Champions League last year in a season where everybody thought we were not going to make it anymore.
Julio.
So, no, hang on. No, we need to give credit to the guy about that. No, because we are here. You bring Palladino, we end up 7th or 8th. That would be a lot worse than Tudor. Hell of a lot worse than Tudor. So I don't know if it's the time to take a chance on a young guy like that, you know? So there is that.
It's kind of similar to what the choice for Comolli after we did with I cannot remember his name. The guy we have for Napoli. What's his name right now? I cannot remember.
Giuntoli?
Oh.
It was the idea to go from away from the kind of like something and change it completely. So going somebody that has no connection with the Italian soccer, and you go with an international manager. The same idea right now is like there's no gamble in a young coach again, and they'll have somebody that has 20 years of experience in Serie A.
It makes sense to me.
The same concept of choice.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, I also agree with Mauro's point. Nobody with that type of, soccer in mind has ever succeeded at Juve. But at this point, if we have a problem in the locker room, and considering the management is again like kind of a little weak, it looks a little bit, maybe having at least the coach that has extensive experience could help.
Giulio, between the two of them, because I'm concerned about player relationship, I would have probably even picked Mancini in that case.
No, please.
No, don't even mention that, guys. Don't even mention his name. Don't even mention his name.
I agree. Will be a decent pick as well. I was between Mancini and Spalletti too.
No,
so.
Mancini like Conte is never gonna be sitting in our bench ever again. Conte and Mancini never ever. Just because there are things that can't be forgiven. And we need
Conte almost signed this summer, huh?
Yeah, I'm thinking
he almost did, and then he screwed us, and that's like the final nail in the coffin. So
at the end, we give him like the possibility to sign for us.
I would have not, but like I think we can't, considering how.
Giulio, my concern is that again, I am not aware that Mancini had beefs with any players. The only issue with Mancini is that supporters hate him. Allegri was not welcome, not even close, when he joined Juventus either. My concern right now is there a coach that can bond with this player and not fight with them? I don't think Spalletti fits that bill.
But Allegri didn't celebrate for a fake Scudetto and call us all cheaters.
But the fan would care about that. Would Locatelli gives a crap if Spalletti celebrated for Napoli? I don't think that they would. I don't think they care.
For Mancini, yeah.
I think Mancini having a Napoli tattoo is less concerning to me than the way. Spalletti having a Napoli tattoo is less concerning for me than Mancini's past behavior. My biggest concern with Spalletti is he starts seasons really well because his almost biggest accolade is the way he's able to prepare for a season, and he's not going to have that time. He starts seasons off really hot, and then it takes a big dip towards after January, and then picks it back up again at the end of the season. And that season that he won the Scudetto with Napoli, he essentially had 2 preseasons because of the World Cup and barely any of the Napoli players going to play in the World Cup. So he was able to be with his squad the entire time, train them again the entire time. And another big concern is anytime I think of Spalletti, I just see him looking down. Donato over here said he has experience in managing games, but he's very much what I would refer to as a quicksand manager. When things start to go bad, he is not the guy that can really, in my experience watching him, he's not the guy that makes a couple changes and turns things around and can figure things out. I think when he gets down and he puts his head down, that's it. His head's in the sand and that's it. And in a situation where we're so vulnerable in a lot of ways, what's to say that there's not a lapse in mentality in the beginning of a game and we get hit in the first 5 minutes like we did with the first 10 minutes like we did against Como, and he just puts his head down and gives up already in the first portion of the first half. So that's a big concern of mine with Spalletti. I think that if he is smart, he's going to come into the locker room and say, listen, anything that happened on the national team side and anything that happened in that regard is separate from what we're doing now. And we're going to move forward together. We're all here to work together, and we're going to make it work. Again, this is why I was more leaning towards Palladino as a decision, is also because Palladino makes it work with what he has. He did that with Monza, and I think it would be almost better to kind of do that with what we have now. Obviously, the decision is already made. Spalletti is our coach, and I'm going to hope that he's so successful that he lobbies for tattoo removal to be portion of J Medical. Okay. So I'm the kind of guy that, I'll hate a coach or a player until they sign him, and then he's one of our guys. If it doesn't behoove me while sitting on a plane if I hate the pilot to want him to not succeed.
No, we want to succeed. Tal, you also mentioned, Palladino did also well with Fiorentina last year, compared with what they're doing
really
this
good with Fiorentina. Also, if we're going to talk about player relationships, he has a good relationship with Di Gregorio, who, in my opinion, is not having the best season. There's a lot of things that are very concerning to me about Di Gregorio's movements.
Di Gregorio?
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and I have a buddy who's a goalkeeper, and him and I talk about this very often. He seems very rooted to the spot. He comes out for balls way too aggressively sometimes, and also he can. Does someone lube up his gloves before games because he can never hold on to a ball?
So
But you
true.
watch Real Madrid game?
That's so true.
The one game this season.
Yeah.
One game?
Okay, I think Di Gregorio last year was
I think
one of
so
our
also,
best
sorry.
players last year.
Last
Maybe
year, yes, last year.
Yeah.
Cambiaso was also one of our best players last year.
No,
And
last
he had
year
a good game this
Cambiaso,
season, which was today.
Cambiaso last year sank us like in multiple games
Until January.
Until January. So, but I don't think we have. The problem is really Di Gregorio.
Di Gregorio is far from our biggest issue. Okay.
Right.
I'm just pointing things out. But if he can get more out of him, because he has experience with him, because Di Gregorio's best season when he was goalkeeper of the season was under Palladino.
Sure, guys, and then we move to the last topic. We have 2 minutes. We need to keep in mind that we got Motta because he did well in Bologna, right? We got Tudor because he did well, whatever, Verona.
Because he saved our ass.
Now we want to get Palladino because he did well in Monza. I think at a certain point, we need to realize that maybe Juventus, this type of dynamic doesn't work well, and we need people that have squared balls, like we say in Italy, where, they don't crash under the weight.
The point, I also wanted to make a point of what I like about Spalletti is that he holds players accountable. Cambiaso had stinker after stinker after stinker, and, only against Lazio does he say something about it. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying things in the locker room, but at the same time, bench the guy. Tell him, hey, you're playing like shit. Sit out a game.
Well, that opens also why Cobb Miners kept playing. Should have
Well,
been.
that's a different conversation. One last question, all right? Since we're like at 1 hour. So November, okay. This weekend opens like the month of November, where we have Cremonese away, then Sporting at home, Champions League, then the derby with Turin at home, then we have the national break, and then we come back and close with Fiorentina away and Bodo Klimt away. So we play at home with Sporting and win with Turin, and then away Cremonese, Fiorentina, Bodo Klimt. I think this month might be the one that at least determines if we're gonna make it to the playoff or Champions League or not. Do you guys agree? What we need to expect from this month as a bare minimum? You know, Champions League, Sporting and Bodo Klimt, and then Serie A, Cremonese, Derby and Fiorentina. Edo.
I mean, we gotta start winning in Champions League because, you know, you can say that. I mean, you can say that it's unrealistic to go and expect to win at Bernabeu. That's totally fine. You know, Dortmund is always a tough job for sure. But now, I mean, you know, we have 2 points. You know, we gotta win. And Sporting is not an easy one because we always have issues with the Portuguese team. Like, but you know,
we played that at home.
We played it at home, and you know, we didn't make ourselves, you know, give ourselves any favor because we just have zero room for error now, and you got to win.
So we expect 6 points from Champions League.
Yeah, I mean,
if we don't go into those Champions League games, if we go in saying we're okay with the draw and we walk out of the tunnel with that mentality, we already lost. We have to go into every one of these games in November. If we set the tone in November and we get some confidence into these players in November, the rest of our season can look completely differently. But if we fail now, I think we all might as pack it all up, sell them all. You know what I mean? Promote half the next gen and go from there.
Let me rephrase. Is it reasonable to expect 6 points from these 2 games?
I demand it.
Sure. I want it too. But is it reasonable with this team at this point to expect 6 points? Mauro is not sure. Billo said yes. Edo said yes.
The betting odds are not in our favor. That's what I would say. The betting odds are definitely not in our favor.
Is it reasonable to expect 4 points?
Yeah. 4.
So at the end of the thing, if we're gonna go make the playoff, we need to make 10 points in Champions League, and right now we have 2. So out of 5 games, we have to make 8 points. This is what it is.
All
It's
right.
a very Allegri way to look at it, but I agree with you completely.
And what about the Serie A games? Cremonese away on Sunday, Derby, and then you come back Fiorentina away. What do you
Okay,
expect?
so what I expect is not allowing stupid goals like the one of today, like the one we did with Lazio.
Now, we need to talk about points because at the end of the day, we need to understand what.
Yeah, but how are you gonna get the points? First of all, is like
you can take 2 stupid goals and score 10.
For like set pieces, and another thing is you have the light up front with Ildis, and you make sure that he's in the best position.
Okay, how do you fix it in 3 days? That's what I'm saying. Like the players are there.
You make sure that they don't lose the opponent. You start with that.
You just stay concentrated the whole game. You just focus on concentration.
Again, I don't think anything is going to change overnight, right? So
I expect 7 points, no more than that.
7 points. So
Yeah.
Cremonese, Derby,
Toro and
1 point Fiorentina.
I think we can beat Toro and Fiorentina. I don't know if we will beat Cremonese.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So bare minimum 7 points from Serie A, 4 from Champions League, like bare minimum.
Do we know is Pioli sacked at Fiorentina?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So
Where
then,
yet is the key word.
in which
Yeah.
case, the only game that I have concerned with is the Fiorentina game, because I'm suspecting that by the time we play them, they are
They're gonna
going to have
switch.
sacked Pioli and possibly brought in somebody new, and they're going to get that new coach bump, and they're gonna be playing a little differently, maybe a little harder for said new coach, who might end up being Palladino, because I don't know who else is available right now.
Motta.
Oh, I hope it's Mota. Oh, I pray
Tudor,
that.
Oh, it
Tudor.
would be amazing for us.
No, because if it's Mota, then we
We
don't have
score.
to pay him.
We score.
Yeah.
It's 16 million is costing
Yeah, it
us.
would be amazing.
All
for
right.
us.
Let's close with predictions for Sunday, and then we go have dinner, or probably you guys go to sleep in this course or something. All right, prediction, Tal, for Sunday. We play away against Cremonese.
I'm gonna say same score as today,
3-1?
3-1.
All right, Tal, 3-1.
And my tiebreaker is the one that Cremonese gets is from Federico Baschirotto.
Ha. All right, very detailed. All right.
Personally, I thought that we should have spent the $5 million and picked him up. We could have done that instead of getting Lloyd Kelly. Even though Lloyd Kelly arguably is our best defender this season.
Which says it all. But
Well,
yes.
listen,
I
no,
agree.
it says what it
I agree.
says about him is that he actually stayed behind. He didn't take a vacation this summer, and he worked his ass off this summer to
Yes,
be in
I agree.
shape, and so it's hard work that got him to where he is now. So I actually have a lot of faith, not faith in him, but I have gained a respect for him because he did that. He said, I wasn't at the level, and I'm going to push myself, so I will be at the level.
Mauro.
I
Prediction.
think Cremonese Juve 1-1. I am
Oh.
worried medium term on Yildiz knee because that tape underneath the rotula,
Aspetta che mi gratto.
I've seen Rafael Nadal wearing it for 10 plus years. It's a lingering issue. I'm worried that one will pay for that.
Okay.
I mean, he's played them all. Like he hasn't had a break in.
He has played them all. Edo.
So that Matteo doesn't complain and he's not gonna say, "Oh, you're the pessimist," blah blah blah. Do you see that?
3-0 for us.
Yeah.
All right. I see Donato says it 2-1 for us. Okay. Billo.
Open da David.
2-0 pure io, cazzo. Dai.
Sì.
Billo. 2-0. I agree with Billo. 2-0 for me too. All right.
Can we do something so that Spalletti teaches Openda how to score? Just, you have the ball, just shoot. Don't think twice. Don't touch the ball 3 times. Just, you're a striker. You're there. Just shoot it. Can we do
Yeah,
that?
he missed a few, but
Who's
hey,
passing him the ball into open
He-
space?
he wasn't the right-
because that's his bread and butter.
he
He's not a
wasn't
guy
the-
that dribbles around people. He gets the ball, beats the defender, leaves him in his dust, and puts it in the top corner. That's how he
Don't
plays.
even say that because as soon as you said that, it came to mind the Real Madrid game.
Great pass to Lozano, by the way, for the penalty. Eh?
Fuck, the Real Madrid game, like he literally had 3 options to score, and he chose the only one how not to score. Opened up. I like the guy.
Yeah, but
Don't get me wrong. And I think today he played a decent game, actually. Like, I mean, if you find yourself in having 3-4 chances because
See,
you put
since
yourself
we
in
play
the
in the same
position.
fantasy league, can you give me Open da?
Sure. I'm.
Okay, perfect.
I question the purchase price of Openda.
Leave alone the purchase price of all my team. That's for another time. I was looking at the wrong column, so I overpaid for everything because I was looking at the wrong value. But all right, well, thank you everybody. Finally, we're back. This was fun. This is gonna be every Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Yes, Edo?
Okay, let's try not to have more coaches than episodes, because right now we're 2. So,
Well, Matteo asks. For Tal means like did Ed already put a spell on Spalletti?
No, he's jealous because I see the future and he doesn't. And then he.
Listen,
I
I
think-
already told my whole club if we win the Scudetto this season, I'm shaving my head.
No.
Okay, I'm going full Spalletti, and my wife doesn't know it, but I'm doing the mustache.
Hey,
too.
Tal, what I should do?
You got to do the mustache then. You just got to grow the mustache. You got to lose the soul patch, and you got to go for the mustache.
Okay.
Or either that, or you get a Conte wig,
Okay. Sounds good.
just for shits and giggles.
All right,
All right, everyone.
Let's close with the Forza Juve.
Thank you, everyone. Forza
Thank
Juve.
Forza
We all
Juve
believe in
sempre.
it.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.